This video is a deep dive into bench testing, a speedometer and a tachometer, a dash dimmer rheostat, dim lights, so now we're at 10 ohms, and the printed circuit board from an instrument panel. These are all typical from a 70s or 80s Japanese car. We're also going to do a detailed disassembly of the primary instrument panel. It's time to address the primary instrument panel here with the Speedo and the Tach. It's pretty dirty. It's got, those are the original miles that Hazel had on her when I got her. 61,759.8. It's pretty dirty, but that's what we're here to fix, right? We're going to clean that up. There's a rheostat for the dimmer, many light bulbs, Speedo, Tach, ground. There's a primary plug-in. So we're going to get this all apart. There's 1, 2, 3 screws that are holding this soft bumper on. That soft bumper pad there. Take that off, clean it up. All right, let's do it. Needs a nice cleanup. Knob here, just pull. It's tight, don't want to break it. Ooh, there we go. Okay, take that off. Alright, there's our rheostat. It's got that little notch there. Goes into that slot. Okay, we'll be testing that later. And before we go any further, let's test the Tach and the speedometer from not only Hazel, but also from the green car. I'm gonna go dig that up and let's test those things. I have my original speedometer cable here, and I am going to plug it into a drill, and we are going to test the speedometer. I've also dug up the green car speedometer. We're going to test them both. Let's try reverse. There we go. Oh yeah! I remember now. You see that pulsating there? I remember that from when these cars ran. That's an indication I need to lubricate the cable inside the sheath. We'll do that. Now let's test the green car. Okay, both are working. So that one just maxed out at 65. Let's go back here. Where does this one max? One of these is going to be way off. I don't know which. 65 full throttle on the drill, 78 full throttle on the drill. We're going to lubricate this speedometer cable because it shouldn't be pulsating like that. Let's get this lubricated. You know, a new cable would not be very expensive. What I've got here is a graphite spray. Just gonna see if I can get that in there. Graphite spray. Making a mess. Making a bloody mess. And this thing is leaking. It's spraying all over the fucking place. All over my shop now. Graphite spray. There. That's plenty. It's leaking out of the base here. Could have just used like a lithium grease type thing. That would have been great. That would have been appropriate. If I had done that, I wouldn't have sprayed graphite all over my shop. Alright, let's thread back in here. Of course, now I'm dirty as frick. Feel like it's binding on the casing. Maybe I do want to go with a moly grease, lithium grease. Ideally, I would have had a graphite powder, right? I don't have that, so I went with my little graphite spray. Now I have a fucking mess all over my garage. Genius. Genius. This is actually feeling a lot better now. It's feeling better. Miles an hour, full blast, green car. So it's not as bad after lubricating the cable, but it's still there. $68 and 78 miles an hour. Okay, I got a new speedometer cable from somebody on eBay, made in Taiwan type of thing. Let's test these speedometers with the new cable. That's a much smoother action. Broker's tight as shit. Got it on a workbench and I can't get that off. Can you imagine trying to pull this off in the car? Steering wheel in the way and so forth. So at full throttle on the drill, it gives me 70 miles an hour, whereas the silver car gave me 74. This brand new cable is much smoother, so success. Now, one thing I want to mention is when you get this cheap speedometer cable from Taiwan, it doesn't want to let go. You kind of have to get in there with a small screwdriver and encourage it to go higher than this little tang will let you do. So if you look here, you can see this little tang here is supposed to let go. It doesn't. So when you get in there with another instrument, you can coax it the rest of the way. Wire off. For testing the tachometer, we go down the street where my neighbor Keith has a 78 RX7, one of the first. Just to go over, I've got negative from the battery going to the white with black, grounding the dashboard. I've got positive of the battery going to the ignition or main fuse terminal. And then I've got the black with yellow, which is the tachometer, going to the negative of one of the coils. We later discovered that this inaccuracy was because I was plugged into the trailing coil. During testing of the green car tachometer, we discovered this and changed over to the leading coil, and then both were spot on. Terminal marked B, I want to go to the positive of the battery. So if I follow the printed circuit, that is this guy. Final cable is the negative of the coil going to this guy here, which is going to the black and the yellow, which I'm going to go ahead and just click up here so that these aren't... Change coils. What if I change coils?
Yeah, and you're almost right on. It's right on.
How's the accuracy?
It's dead on.
Dead on?
Dead on.
With the speedometer and tach tested, go ahead and pull things apart here. Do I need to be able to grip the back of this to get this knob off? I should unthread. I'm going to have to grip the back to get the knob off. Okay. That's an inconvenient thing about this knob. That came off easy. So to get this knob off, I'm going to have to grip the shaft from the rear. Here's a pro tip. If the speedometer cable is attached, you can unscrew this knob fairly easily, because otherwise it just spins. Flange nut, 8mm socket to get that off. Tight, huh? That's what she said. There we go. So there is a dash crash pad piece for the instrument cluster. We'll get that cleaned up. Next, the vent. sheet metal screw. Those are short sheet metal type screws. Clean that up and test it later. Let's take this little grommet out while we're here. Little rubber grommet that was for the shaft of the rheostat. I'm going to clean it with a wet wipe, and then it's going to get a black wow bath. Take away the brittle. This is the buzzer. I want this knob off. We have to hold the shaft from the back. All right. So let's undo stuff. Screws at the four corners. There's a tang here, by the way. Don't break your tangs. Okay, there's one. Tang on the other side.
If I tell you on the road, my voice will be set at 309. All I gotta say is, do you know me now?
Speedo screws are threaded, not sheet metal type.
Do you love me now? Do you love me now? I wonder if I'll tell you on the road, my voice don't be. It wasn't for your heart. All I gotta say is, do you know me now? Do you know me now?
This goes to a black yellow. I like how they tell you exactly what goes there. Brilliant. White with black goes here, times 1, 2, 3. This is a 74 panel. I got a hunch these gotta come apart. Alright, now, I'm still trying to get to the back of this shaft here. It's gonna be key.
If I tell you on the road, my voice will be set at 309. All I gotta say is, do you know me now? Do you know me now? I didn't think so.
There's our Tach apparatus. It's different from the 76. Here's our retainer for the Speedo. Now I can get like a little pinchy pinch, hold this shaft while unscrewing this knob. There we go. There's the knob for the reset. Speedo comes out. Green car, Speedo. Dirty lenses times 2. We can fix that. All this stuff is dirty. It's going in the dishwasher. Colony of spiders. Now let's disassemble the printed circuit board here. I got these 2 screws. Those are tiny. Way tiny. On Hazel, these were screws, not nuts. washer, lock washer, and a nut. This is the early model. Production date of 73 November or something like that. Okay, that can come out. Try to get all of these tachometer wires through this grommet. That's going to be a trick. So on this earlier model Tach, there are more wires going through the two grommets. It's busy. It's like they refined things by the time they made the 75 on version. There's 4 wires. And then to get through with their little eyelets, that's a little bit of a project. There we go. Okay, so for this 74, different. It's got this other circuit board here. Yeah. Now I've destroyed the grommet. Darn it. Not good. It's going to be okay. This extra circuit board here, not present on the 75 on. And another bunch of wires coming through. There's just no room in this grommet to get these wires with their fittings on them out. It's just not happening. There we go. Okay, with the first one through, the rest should be substantially easier. Let's get green with white through here. Okay. Let's get the yellow with a bullet. And then this grommet is now destroyed as well. Darn it. 2 spent grommets. Okay, there's the printed circuit coming off of the early RX3 dashboard. Not present on the later model. Alright, let's get the printed circuit board off. Going to start by taking off the ground screw here, and then we're going to pry up at the 1, 2, 3 tangs. There's one. There's 2. Last one's here. And there we go. The early model RX3 printed circuit board for the dash lights and the incoming connectors. Okay, we'll test all that out later. Got my ohm meter here. So it looks like on the brightest setting, we've got 5.6 ohms, 5.4, 5.4, 5.5. And as we .5 ohms on the wide open setting, and as we turn the rheostat, the ohms increase. And then that's probably the brightest set, or the dimmest setting without being off. So 10.3 ohms, and if you go a little further, it's going to disconnect. And we have an open system, it's off. So it looks like the range is varying between 5.4 ohms and 10.7, because after 10.7, it's off. Go back down to full on. 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5. Good. That's the buzzer coming off the green car. Super annoying. If you went too high in RPM, this thing went off. Okay, well that works. Gonna test the printed circuit board here that holds the dash lights for the later model RX3. I've got the older one here too, we may or may not fiddle with. I've got the checking the meter set instructions here from the manual, and let's get going. We're gonna start with number 4 here. That's this guy straight up. Earth. There's black to earth. That's gonna get me the 2 turn signals, and if I follow this green line here, it'll get me this here, whatever that is. Goes to that pin. That'll get me the high beam indicator. Alright, so let's check the 2 turn signals. Turn signal pin on the right is the left turn signal. I've got the battery here. Okay, that one works. Right turn signal is pin number 3 here. Turn signal indicator right. Works. Which one is the high beam? 12. That's this guy. Okay, so that would be this pin here. No high beam. Maybe it's a burnt out bulb. That's likely. Alright, let's check that out. That would be this bulb here. Okay, let's rob one from here. Could be a bad circuit board. Let's hope not. There we go. Okay, that's working. Now for the panel lights, uses a different ground. So this ground went to those things. Let me look here. Let's just follow the panel. So this one here is correlating with number 2 panel light resistor. That's this guy that we just tested a little bit ago. So that's going to have power going to it. Panel light resistor has power. And where's our ground? Illumination light fuse box 11. Well, okay, so I have these backwards. So the resistor should be black, and the panel light number 11 should be the hot power from the fuse box. All right, let's see. Looking good. Is that all of them? So this guy was the high beams. This guy here is oil light. These are return signals. Okay, looking good. Oil light is going to have a power here, or ground there. Let's call that ground. And then power to this resistor. Here's our oil light. Okay, these are working. No breaks. And as far as bulbs go, probably should do LEDs, right? Testing the earlier model shouldn't be too hard. You know, if you just trace the equal wires, then boom, this black. Black should go to number 2 here, and we're gonna stick black with black. Where does this go off to? That's the oil light. Let's see if it works. This is the earlier model RX3 panel. Oil light works. Okay, so for turn signals, let's go one here, and the other goes to here. should be this turn signal. Okay, let's do the other turn signal. Next. I don't want these getting too close to each other. Okay, that should be, that's the high beam light. Now to get these guys on, these should be panel lights. This should turn on 1, 2, 3, and probably 4. Let's see. Boom. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5. Okay. Okay, that tells me that this printed circuit board for the Mazda RX3 early version dashboard works. Missing a couple of bulbs. I just robbed one. So the one I'm going to use is this one, and let's get to work.
Coming up next, we restore the individual pieces, reassemble, and reinstall.